Hello, my name's Sue Jeffries. Welcome to my terrarium make-along session on Zoom today. It's part of IQ Student Accommodations Wellbeing Week for the first week of March this year. I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these lovely terrariums that you can see behind me. You should have all got your terrarium takeaway pack in your bag, all very COVID safe. And I'm going to take you through what to do with all the different elements that are in your bag so you can put together and make your own terrarium you can keep in your room. So first I'm going to share a video clip with you and just talk you through all the different stages of putting your terrarium together. So as you see in that square cardboard box you got this glass globe terrarium, which is perfect for growing tender succulent plants in. And you have the hanger as well that it can go on. I've just secured that there. So that's what you'll hang it on once you've filled it and you've got your plants in. So you should have both of those in your terrarium kit you've been given. So we'll have a look at the other bits that are in your terrarium takeaway. So in one of your bags, you'll have some of this rough gravel, which is the drainage, which you need to use at the bottom of the terrarium. So we'll look at that in a minute. And then you've got the compost. This is special compost, which is made specifically for cactuses and succulent plants. It's made out of the husk of coconuts, and it's also got some of that white perlite in it as well. So that's another part of the terrarium kit. And you've got some fine sand. So both the gravel and the sand come from specialist aquarium shops. So we'll be using that there. And then finally got some coloured gravels. So depending on which kit you got, you might have green or blue or black. Everybody's got a little bit of coloured gravel and white gravel. And you'll also have some seashells in the pack as well. So a range of different ones, different shapes and sizes, which you can use to decorate the terrarium. And then carefully wrapped up in your box as well, you'll have the important part, which is the plants that you need. So you should have four different tender succulent plants. So these are plants that like to grow inside. They're too sort of tender to grow outside in this country. They're going to be growing in the terrarium. So they'll be all slightly different shapes and colours and sizes. So you've got some variety in the terrarium. All different ones, but they should all grow well together in that terrarium. So we'll start off filling the globe. So you'll need some scissors to open the bags, and then you'll need some spoons as well, teaspoons or soup spoons, quite handy for this. So the first layer you're going to put in the terrarium is going to be this rough gravel, because it's going to provide some drainage for your plants, because they don't like to sit in water. So I'm just going to fill that with the gravel. And the amount of gravel you've been sent in your pack is about the right amount you need for your terrarium. So you can just use all of the gravel that you've been sent there. You can see it's several spoonfuls of that, just to nice and securely cover the base. Just being careful when you're putting it in that it's not getting too close to the edge of the hole where the terrarium is. So keep it away from that, also it will tend to build up too far. Yeah, that's perfect. So that's only gravel used up. Just sort of making sure that's flat. Then we're going to look at the compost. So this is the next layer. So this is a special sort of dry, free draining compost, which you need for the succulent plants. Again, just putting this in a nice thick layer over the top of the gravel. So again, the amount that you were given in your packs will be about the right amount for the size of terrarium that you're working with. So you can pretty much just fill that up. All the compost you've got, just build it up in a layer over the top of your gravel. And just push it down as you go along. So everything you're putting in this terrarium really is all about providing a bit of anchorage for the roots of the plant, but also making sure that they don't hold too much moisture and they drain well. And again, just keep it away from the edge so it doesn't fall out. Use your fingers to push that down. Right, so just cover that up so you've got a nice layer there that the plants can grow into. So that's enough of the compost. And then we're going to use that fine sand. It's just got a little bit of gravel in, but it's a nice fine cover. And what you need to do with this is sprinkle it over the compost so that you're covering the compost. You can't actually see it from the top. So I'm just spreading that over. Again, the amount that you were given in the packs will pretty much be the right amount to cover up the compost. So I'm just pushing that in carefully, making sure that all the compost is covered up. Just filling in any gaps as you go along. Just putting it down, making sure that it's sort of nicely covered. And this layer of sand will help secure your succulent cuttings as well, sort of stop them from falling over till they form roots. So it's creating a nice sort of firm surface there into. Yeah, so I'm just using my finger there just to pat it down, making sure it's nice and level. Just add a little bit more. As I said, the sand and gravel, the decorative gravel I'm using is all from aquarium shops, so it's nice and clean. Because you don't want to have anything that might have bacteria or fungus in, because that could affect the plants. So we've got those 3 layers in now of rough gravel, compost and sand. And then at this point, it's the right time to be putting your plants in. So you should have these 4 different plants, just small cuttings. They're about 4 to 5 centimetres long. And usually I try and put the larger ones at the back of the terrarium and get them in first. And you're just pushing the stem into the sand. Obviously they don't have roots at the minute, so they're not going to be totally stable. But if you just put them in as straight as you can, and then gradually they'll form roots. So if you see on this little cutting, it's not really got much of a stem, so I'm actually pulling off a few of the leaves at the bottom, just so I have a stem that then will go into the sand, so it's not going to affect the plant. Just need to be able to establish its roots very quickly. So I'm pushing that in. And the thing to aim for with this is to make sure you space out your plants as much as you can in the terrarium, so they're not too close together. So I've put 3 in there in the terrarium, and then I'm actually leaving that 4th and final one. I'm not going to put that in yet, because actually I'm going to place that in the terrarium so it's just sort of coming out through the opening. So now I'm going to put the shells in. So where I'm putting the shells at the front, I'm just using my fingers to do that with. I'm just positioning them. And this works quite nicely if you have some small pebbles as well, decorative pebbles that can work. At the back, I'm using this teaspoon just to position them at the back where it's a little bit fiddly. There. And I have known somebody do this with chopsticks, so if you're quite handy with chopsticks, this might be a good use of that skill. You can position your small gravel and seashells with chopsticks too. Or tweezers maybe. If you have tweezers to hand, some long-handled tweezers, that might work as well. Right, so as I said, it's a bit floppy, that plant is, but I'm just going to push it back down again. Well, that's quite normal for it to flop over a little bit as you're building your terrarium, so don't panic too much about that. So once they start growing their roots, that they will go up naturally. Yeah, so that's as many shells as I'm going to put in there. And just a nice variety of textures and shapes, just to create some interest. So the last sort of layer I'm going to put in is some of these coloured gravels. So as I say, you'll have a mix in your packs. These are some white ones. So again, I'm using the teaspoon just to put a few in. You don't need to put a lot because it's only quite a small terrarium. So just adding a few different places around. There we go. So it's just really what effect you want to create with them. And I'm just going to add just a few other coloured gravel as well. So this is sort of gravel you get for fish aquariums. And you can get it in lots and lots of different colours if you're interested in creating some more. And getting in red, black, pink, all sorts of different colours. So I'm happy now, there's enough going on in there, there's enough interest and textures and colours. And again, I've always been careful not to put anything too close to the opening there in case it all starts tipping out. So with this little plant here, what I'm doing now is just pulling off some of the leaves at the bottom of the stem because I want to have a clear stem that I can push into the sand. It's a little bit hard if it's still got leaves on. I'm just pulling those off gently. And that'll create just a couple of centimetres of stem, which will then go more easily into the sand. And that's completed. So that's the final terrarium, what it looks like. And the last thing to do is just to put it on your hanger. And then it just needs to go somewhere that's in this, not direct hot sun, but somewhere it's getting light for as many hours of the day as possible. And now what I'm going to do before I finish is actually give it some water. So what I've got is a small indoor watering can, got a long spout. So I'm just going to carefully, I'm tipping the globe back there, and if you can see, I'm watering just around the base of the plants. So I'm being quite careful not to get water on the leaves if I can avoid it. Just watering the base where the roots would start growing. So, and again, you don't want to tip too much in because it might just flood out and you'll lose your sand. So just hold that carefully and just tip in the water around the base of each one. You can also use basters or kitchen syringes and things if you haven't got a watering can, or you can use pipettes or straws, something just where you can control the flow of the water and make sure it doesn't get too wet. So and there's your terrarium ready to go. So then you've got your terrarium ready. As I said, you put it on a windowsill where it gets a reliable amount of light, but not where it gets too hot. In terms of looking after it, really the idea is to make sure it doesn't stay moist, that you just give it some water and you let it dry out really thoroughly. And in the winter, that might be a week, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. And then you give it plenty of water again. and then you let it dry out completely. So in the winter, it'll need very little water. In the summer, if it's on a hot windowsill, then it might need watering every week. So just keep an eye on that. The plants should be fine in that terrarium, I would say, for about a year, and then after that they might grow a little too big. You have to take them out and maybe put them into their own pots and then start again with some fresh cuttings, and you'll be able to reuse the terrarium because that will last for quite a long time. So I hope you've all enjoyed that, and good luck with your plants, and good luck for looking after it. I've provided a tip sheet as well in the pack, so to give you an idea of where you can get more plants from, where you can buy the specialist compost from as well. And as I mentioned before, the sand and the gravel you can get from any sort of pet shops that have all the materials for aquariums. So it's aquarium sand and aquarium gravel that I've used. So take care, and I hope you have a good time looking after your terrariums and it improves your well-being. Nice to meet you. Bye.